There is something weird going on in my house. Written by You Shall Not Pass 121. I think there's something wrong with my family. I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but something just feels off. I came home for the summer holidays after spending almost 6 months away, and sure, things were a little tense at first, and I knew that everything would take time to get back to somewhat familiar normal. I didn't expect for things to be the furthest from normal they could possibly be. I arrived home a few days ago now, and some things happened over the course of those few days that led me to believe that my family weren't my family at all. I noticed their peculiar demeanor as soon as I arrived. It was late though, so I just shrugged it off and deemed it to be down to the late hour. It was midnight after all, and I'd been on the road for about 5 hours. My mother greeted me at the door. Her voice was low, barely audible. "It's so good to see you, Anna," she said. She didn't hug me and remained in the shadows of the hallway. My sleep-deprived mind didn't immediately pick up on her peculiar tone, so I simply returned her welcome and stepped inside. The house was engulfed in darkness. Only the upstairs landing light was on, which illuminated the staircase. I couldn't see much, so I went to turn on the downstairs light, when a hand shot out of the shadows and stopped me. It was my father. "Hi, Anna. So good to see you. It's late. Get some rest and we'll talk tomorrow," he said. There was a twinkle in his eye. "Where's Ben?" I asked. Ben was my brother, and I was anxious to see him. Ben is in bed, Anna," they both replied, somewhat monotonously. It was a bit weird. "Right. I assume my bedroom is still in the same place?" I laughed, hoping to lift the atmosphere. They both laughed in return, but it wasn't a natural kind of laugh. It was forced, completely emotionless. It was unsettling, and the strange thing was, they just didn't move. They stayed in the gloom of the living room. I couldn't even see their faces. All I could see was their twinkling eyes, shining in the dark. "Okay, so good night. I'll see you tomorrow?" Yes, Anna, tomorrow," they both replied, their voices perfectly in sync. As I made my way up the stairs, I looked down and saw the twinkling eyes of my parents, following me. I walked down the elongated hallway toward the end, which is where my bedroom was. A door creaked open behind me. It was Ben's bedroom. "Hi, Anna. So good to see you," he whispered. His door was open only a fraction, so all I could see was a single eye, a shimmering eye amidst the absence of light. Hey Ben, it's been a long time, huh? What's up with Mom and Dad? They're acting a little strange." He chuckled then, the same sort of emotionless laugh that emanated from my parents. It made my skin crawl. "Nothing, Anna. I think they're just tired, you know? It's late," he said, his tone flat. A shape stirred behind him in the darkness. "Have you got friends staying tonight, Ben?" I asked, smiling. "No, Anna, it's just me," he said softly, and closed the door. Okay, good night, Ben. See you tomorrow." My nerves were fraught, so I just wanted to get in bed and sleep tonight's weirdness away. I was desperate to reconnect with my family. Time hasn't been kind to us. The detachment between us was painfully apparent. I had hoped some time alone would fix that. I woke up the next day feeling optimistic. The events of the night before faded with my dreams. The sun shone brightly through my windows, and I let the rays warm my face for a moment. I stood up, preparing to get dressed, when I suddenly felt a pain in my neck, an aching sort of pain, as if I'd slept funny. I went to the bathroom and examined it in the mirror. I noticed a red circle had appeared. It was inflamed and it burned. I could see small dots as if I'd been pricked by hundreds of tiny needles. It alarmed me. I didn't know of any insect that could inflict bites like that. I washed it with some antiseptic I found in the bathroom cupboard and applied a plaster. Perhaps my parents could shed some light on what it could be. I proceeded to get dressed and made my way downstairs into the kitchen. My puncture felt like it was literally on fire though, throbbing with pain. Despite it being a bright morning, strangely, the ground floor was really dim, the atmosphere somber. I walked into the kitchen. My family sat in a circle around the table, and they were all facing me. There was no food, no cups of steaming hot coffee on the table. They just sat, utterly still, staring at me. Good morning, Anna, they all said in unison. We hope that you slept well. A wide smile crept over their faces, exposing their yellow teeth. It was strange. Not a single stroke of individuality seemed to exude from my timid family. Similarly, they were even dressed the same. My father wore a pair of khaki chinos, which matched his checkered shirt. My mother wore a brown, somewhat dirt-stained short-sleeved dress with a pair of beige sandals. My brother wore a pair of chinos the color of oatmeal, with a faded, pale blue checkered shirt. It was like a demented version of a picture-perfect family, a family from the 1950s. I approached gingerly, a frown adorning my already confused face. Morning, guys. Is everything okay? I didn't know what else to say. What do you say? I couldn't accuse them of anything, after all. It wasn't like they were being threatening. They were just acting so off. I didn't want to sound insane, though. What could I even accuse them of? Not brushing their teeth? I sat down in one of the vacant chairs, expecting someone to say something, to answer me. My parents and Ben just stared at me, still smiling. Everything is perfect, Anna. Just perfect now that you're here, now that we can be a family again, my mother said. A tear rolled down her face. She didn't wipe it away. I felt bad then. I'm really happy to be here too, Mom. Happy to see all of you. I've missed you all so much, I said, reaching my hand out to touch hers. She wouldn't let me, though. I got up, yearning for a cup of coffee. I opened the kitchen cupboard, but found it empty, barren. I tried the next one, and was met with the same. This house was seemingly empty. Where's all the food? I asked. We have food, Anna. There is some cookies in the cupboard. We brought some especially for you. They're chocolate chip, your favorite, she said, smiling. Where's the coffee? We don't drink that stuff in this house, my father said sternly. Feeling somewhat crestfallen and hungry, I grabbed the single packet of cookies that lay in the otherwise empty cupboard. I offered some to my brother. He declined. They all continued to stare at me as I ate. I felt wholeheartedly uncomfortable, and I just really wanted to get out of there. I felt my plastered bite sting then, and I touched my neck in pain. Everything all right, Anna? My father asked, grinning. Yeah, I just got bit last night. What kind of bugs do you have around here anyway? I asked, rubbing at my neck. All three of them shrugged then, and slowly got up. We have something to attend to, Anna. I hope you can excuse us. I was left alone at the kitchen table, chewing the dry biscuit and pawing at my neck uncomfortably. I felt so freaked out. That afternoon, I discovered some clothes in my room that were not mine. On my unmade bed lay an off-white, dismal-looking dress. On the floor were a pair of sandals not dissimilar to the ones my mother wore. As you can probably guess, I was deeply unsettled at this point. There was something going on here, something not quite right. I couldn't explain what it was, though. My family were acting so strangely and were not at all how I remembered them. I hadn't seen them since the morning, despite my searching the house. I didn't hear them leave, though, so I had no idea where they could have been. I shut myself in my room and stayed there all day. Last night, I was in bed, trying and failing to fall asleep, my thoughts racing. I watched as the shadows of the trees swayed and danced in the moonlight. My room was shrouded in darkness otherwise. I heard the creak of a door opening. It pierced the silence. My body tensed. I lifted my head slightly and looked over the duvet that covered my face. My door stood open, swaying slightly, but there appeared to be no one there. I looked down and almost cried out. Someone was peeking over the side, crouching low to the floor, staring in. I couldn't see who or what it was, but I could see its body silhouetted against the dim light of the night. I didn't move, just sat there and stared. I think I started crying. I tried to be as silent as I could, pretending to be asleep. God knows there was nothing else I could do. Then the thing moved. It moved so quickly I didn't register the motion. It ran into my room. I shot up in bed then, utterly panicked. I looked around, but I couldn't see anything. The fear that I felt rendered me immobile. My breathing hastened, and my heart beat erratically, threatening to burst out of my chest. I felt a hand, a horribly cold hand, touch and caress my exposed leg. I heard laughter coming from somewhere within the house. It echoed against the walls. I scrambled out of my bed and ran to the bathroom. Before I shut the door, I glimpsed a face in the darkness of the room. A horribly pale, featureless face. I stayed in that bathroom until the sun came up. It's where I am now, in fact. I'm so tired, I can't even think straight. My bite seems to have grown in size. It envelops half of my neck now. I don't feel right anymore. I don't know what's happening. I hear my mother calling to me. She tells me that they're all waiting for me downstairs. I feel drawn to them then, like I've never felt before. I unlock the bathroom door and walk over to the foot of my bed. The clothes are there again. I lightly graze the dress with my fingers and feel the thin material. I pick it up and I put it on. My feet slip into the sandals perfectly. They're just the right size. I stand and admire myself in the mirror. I realize how alike me and my mother are. I see the unmistakable similarities, and right now I can barely tell us apart. I feel a pain in my neck. I go to touch it, but before I do, I notice something in the mirror. I turn my head, and that's when I see it. There is something moving inside my neck. I can feel it slither and writhe beneath my skin, rippling like waves in a calm ocean. Whatever it is, I think it wants to come out. I came here to reconnect with my family, and I think I finally have. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you to the author for letting me use her story. I hope you're all doing well. Have a good night, everyone. Love, the Mistress.